Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we are in New Mexico and Albuquerque to be specific. And we asked the question, can you find good whiskey and bourbon at a Costco in Albuquerque in New Mexico? Let's find out. Run the video. All right then folks, so we are now inside Costco, and I've had a quick look at the whiskey section, and there's a decent amount. We'll definitely go through as much as we can here without making the video too long. If there's anything that I like over there, I think I'm definitely going to pick that up, even though I'm not in Colorado right now. If it's worth it, I'll definitely take it and bring it back there. So let's go over to the section and see what they have. So this is mostly where they keep a lot of the whiskey here on the right. There's a couple of like middle parts here as well. So let's dive on in. First of all, I'm seeing a whistle pig here, this farm stock bespoke batch. Not too sure about what this whiskey is. Obviously it's a rye. I've heard of farm stock before, but I'm not sure about this bespoke batch. 86 proof, 43% ABV for $59.99. I think that's a little bit too pricey for me. They also have some Jack Daniels and some Jim Beam. You know, I've never noticed that there was such a price difference between Jack Daniels $34.89 and Jim Beam $24.89. So I think if you don't really care about too much of what you drink, I would definitely go for the Jim Beam instead. Heck, just go for the Evan Williams 101, the 100 proof instead, the bottled in bond. They also have a phenomenal deal here on Knob Creek 9-year, a 1.75 litre for $49.89. That's excellent value for money. I think that probably works out to somewhere close to like $23 for a regular 750 ml. And then they also have 18-year Knob Creek bourbon. So I recently did a video on this where this bottle evaded me the whole last year. I saw it a couple of times. I didn't want to pay. It was like $190, $200 in Colorado. So for $160 for this bottle, that's a hell of a deal. However, as you can see, where is the 18-year bottle? Doesn't look like they have any left. Like, I'm moving around for it and there's just no 18s year. So when I initially came over just to check out the section, there was one left. And of course I had to pick that up and put it in the cart because I didn't want someone to take it because it was meant to be, right? $160, like I said, I think that's really good value for money. Aged 18 years, 50% ABV or 100 proof. It is release number KC002. I didn't know they did 2 runs of this. I guess they're gonna do maybe like a run every year. I am going to buy it, $160. I think that's a great deal for this. So we're going to put that in the cart, and I think that's a great find so far. And like I said, it's much cheaper than what we would have found in Colorado. They also have a great deal on Maker's Mark 1.75 liters. And this is where I think Costco really excels, is when they go for like the bigger sizes, they get really, really cheap prices. Unless that was what, $44.89 or $34.89 for Jack Daniels. So for $10 more, you can get Maker's Mark over Jack Daniels, and I would definitely get that. I would definitely skip the Jack Daniels. I would get the Jim Beam over that, but then I would get the Maker's Mark with bourbon. And if I want something maybe a little bit better, I probably would go for Woodford as well, $49.89. For again, the 1.75 litre bottles is definitely where the value is at. Basil Hayden's $59.79 for the 10-year bourbon. Even though I'm not the greatest fan of Basil Hayden's, and I've had this one before and I wasn't a big fan of it, I've seen this for like $70, $80. That's a really good price. If you like Basil Hayden's, you like aged whiskey, that might be the price for you. A little bit of Irish single malt from Teelings here. This is a single cask Virginia American. Now it's selected exclusively. Let me just focus in here on this for New Mexico. I haven't tried this one. I've had some Teelings in the past, but obviously this is a specific pick for New Mexico, which is pretty cool. And then I've also know, as you can see, they have some more Knob Creek here as well. So this is a single barrel reserve, and that's an excellent price, by the way. I mentioned these before, that they're incredible value for money for 120 proof or 60% ABV for a 9-year single barrel reserve. I think we might have to do a double Knob Creek pickup. In terms of drinkers, I think you're not going to get too much better value for money than this guy for $38.99. Does it say if it's picked specifically for anything? It doesn't. That would have been pretty cool if it would have said like picked specifically for Maker's Mark like the other one. And again, with the 1.75 liters, we have Bullet Bourbon and then Bullet Rye. Excellent price, $37.89 for both of them. They're a bit dusty. They don't seem to be selling too many here. New Mexico, you know, when I think of New Mexico, I don't really think of a bourbon or whiskey forward state. I think like more tequila. Maybe that's just the name of Mexico in the title, but I don't really think of a big bourbon capital here. There's something a little local here. Hollow Spirits Red Whiskey, 96, New Mexico, $46.99. Let's take a little look at this. So it is 96 proof, or 48% ABV. 96 is the name of it, coming after the proof, we imagine. Against the grain. We are a new generation of distillers producing spirits our own way. We don't have the same taste as our grandfathers, so why make the same whiskey? If you want old school bourbon, go for it. If you're ready for 21st century whiskey, you're holding it. Red 96 is distilled from Rogue Attitudes and locally grown New Mexico red corn, in that order. Distilled, aged and bottled by Hollow Spirits Distillery, Albuquerque, New Mexico. So it's pretty refreshing to see a distillery or a local distillery not sourcing. I don't know what this is like. I don't know if it justifies the $46 price tag. However, if you're someone from New Mexico who has tried this, please let me know down in the comments. We have another local whiskey here. This is the Big Nose Kate Whiskey, New Mexico. Big Nose Western Whiskey, a brave and adventurous blend, Santa Fe. So this is a little bit north of where we're at here in Albuquerque. It's about a 45-minute drive. Ode to an unsung hero, the greatest story never told. Produced and bottled by Big Nose Brands Incorporated, Santa Fe, New Mexico. It says produced and bottled. It doesn't say if they distilled it. So this might be sourced, but it does say on the front there, Santa Fe, New Mexico. So it looks like it might be their own distillate. And for $32.99, I do think that is something I'd take a gamble on. Not today, but because we've already had $200 deep in on Knob Creek. However, that might be worth a buy. Then moving on, you have Johnny Walker, $179.89. Macallan, $12.85. I think what Costco does a really good job at. If you see any like these scotches or bourbons in general, you know that you're always going to get the best prices or close to the best prices as you're going to get at any liquor store. But you have the Kirkland 12-year blended scotch, and then they also have the regular blended scotch there. They also have this cool Kirkland Scotch set, which I really like. This is the Isla Sky single malt scotch, aged 10 years Speyside single malt, a 12-year Highland, and then a Lowland single malt. So if you're someone who's trying to get into scotches, this might be a really good place to start, because it gives you a little bit of everything there as well, and you can kind of decide if this is something that you like. And as you can maybe see from the bottom there as well, they're all matured in bourbon oak casks, so you might just get some bourbon notes in there too. They have a little bit of Japanese whiskey. I think this is the only bottle of Japanese whiskey that they have. I wasn't able to see any other ones. From the founding house of Japanese whiskey, the Suntory brand there, $27.99. And then, sorry, the 4-pack of scotch with $59.99, which is a pretty good price in my opinion. Lefroy 10-year, $47.99. I actually think that's a little bit high, even for Costco. I think you can pick that up for probably close to $35, $38 in Colorado, so I think $47.99 is a bit high. If Irish, Scotch, or bourbon or American whiskey isn't your thing, they also have a little Canadian as well. Crown Royal 18 for $129.99. It is aged 18 years, and it is the extra rare blended Canadian whiskey. Cool little box, and an even super fancy velvet bag from the original ones that they have. I haven't tried this. I'm not the biggest fan of Canadian whiskey. However, I do think that price is right. On another note, they do have Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye Whiskey, and this is very good rye whiskey. However, this is a $60, $70 bottle. For whatever reason, Costco have just gone crazy with the price. $129.99. That's the biggest markup on anything I think I've ever seen from Costco in terms of whiskey or alcohol. So yeah, skip that at that price. I think someone must have marked that up wrong, or just kind of went off the Crown Royal price here. And then they also have some more Canadian whiskey here, and it wouldn't be Costco without the Crown Royal. Again, another good deal, 1.75 liters for $39.89. And of course it comes with an oversized velvet bag here as well, which is always pretty cool. Not as nice as the 18-year velvet bag, that's for sure. But if those prices aren't your budget, then you can get the blended Canadian whiskey oak cask aged for 6 years. 1.75 liter bottle, again, aged 6 years, 40% ABV or 80 proof, rock bottom price of $18.99, which is pretty phenomenal value. We've talked about, I think we've talked about this bottle every time we come to Costco because it is such great value. Crown and Coke, that's your go-to. Don't worry about paying double the price for Crown, just get that and mix it up. They also have some Angel's Envy here, not the single barrel overpriced pick, but the 43.3%, 86.6 proof port finished bourbon. This is pretty solid, and especially if you can get it for $45.99, because I do think that that's a more suitable price for this whiskey. Never pay the $100 that they ask for the single barrel picks. I think those are some of the worst value in bourbon. And then they also have regular Basil Hayden's again for a good price of $31.99. This isn't any of the special finishes. This is just their OG 40% ABV, 80 proof bourbon whiskey. So now what we'll do, and we've done this in the past, is we'll just kind of do a quick walkthrough of the liquor section here. I think I'm going to put the single barrel Knob Creek back because I'm going to buy the 18 year, and that's like going to be like $170, and I don't want to blow my budget because I am going to be going to Arizona and California. So let's hold tight just for the time being, and let's go and see what else they have, or let's go and see everything they have for you folks at home. So overall, a really interesting Costco. They had some whiskey that was completely bottom price, but then it was like the Alberta Rye, the Canadian, for like $130. The pricing for whiskey was all over the place for the most part. We were very fortunate to get a Knob Creek 18. Been looking for this for a while, and with the low tax bracket here in Albuquerque, came away with it for about $167, which isn't too bad. If you want to buy in bulk, then Costco is obviously the place for like your Maker's Mark, your Bullet, and also your Jim Beam. But overall, a really interesting and unique experience. We will be doing probably 2 more of these videos as we hit the road. 1 more in Phoenix, Arizona, and then 1 more in California at the Costcos respectively. So look out for them and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As we say on this channel, as we drink through the world's whiskeys 1 glass at a time. Can't wait to get into this one. Cheers.